And we're live. Unfortunately, I don't think our Fight Fuel video played there, but Peter, do you want to tell everyone about the sponsor anyway?
Yeah, the MMA UK Late Show is sponsored by Fight Fuel. Fight Fuel is a supplement and clothing company founded by martial artists for martial artists and all combat sport athletes. The aim of the company is to supply supplements and clothing of the highest standard to all fighters and warriors so they can train, perform, and win and kick some fucking ass.
So apologies to Fight Fuel there, but we do love you. And we tried to give you a special shout out at the beginning. So welcome everybody to the Late Show. We're joined by one of my favourite people in MMA this week, Daniel Movahedi. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I'm sorry if the connection's a bit bad. I don't know what's going on here, but hopefully you guys can hear me and I don't freeze in the moment, so to speak. But yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
It's normally me getting slagged off for my cheap Wi-Fi, so it makes a change. And as ever, I'm joined by my co-host, Peter Knox. Welcome, Peter.
I'm deeply offended because you said when you said they're my favourite person in MMA, I thought you were talking about me. Well, shocking.
You should definitely know by now. I actually credit Dan and Sam Amidi for a huge role in my MMA journey. They've been there all the way through. So it's always a pleasure for me to speak to both of them. But Dan, I really wanted to have you on the show I wanted to talk to you about the whole experience of Fight Island because it was so unique and bizarre and crazy, and I wanted to hear all about it. And Peter, I know that you wanted to do like an official special and you know, give everybody the opportunity to ask questions of a referee and for us to ask our burning questions. So first of all, welcome back to England, Dan. It felt like you were gone for ages.
Do you know what? It felt like ages. I was just saying to my wife and the kids, a month without seeing them, and that's like the longest I've been away from them.
Yeah.
And it was hard, but at the same time, it was an experience and an opportunity that obviously I couldn't turn down. You know, it was a pleasure for me to be there and an honor for me to be there for something, you know, some historic moment, so to speak, in the MMA, not just UFC, but MMA history. You know.
Yeah, it really, really was part of history. But how did it come about that it was a whole UK team that got taken over there?
As far as the whole UK team, I don't know how that come about. I know the guy, Mark Ratner, he's the guy who has the final say of who gets officiated. I'm assuming, one can only imagine, obviously they had hubs around the world. And obviously, it's got to be cost effective. Bear in mind, we all got chartered over there, so it's all private, you know, hired planes to be chartered from wherever you're going from. And I guess they picked the UK guys, and Goddard was also the other guy who put the team together as well. So again, availability. 3 weeks is a long time to be away, you know. So I was lucky enough to be able to get them 3 weeks off work.
Yeah, I was going to say, was it easy to get the time off?
It wasn't, but I'm fortunate enough that I've got good managers and good workplace. I'm sure Peter knows I work for Royal Mail as well, but I've got a good manager and I was able to, obviously it was unpaid for me, a time off. But again, I've got good people who I work along with who support me. Peter's shaking his head. I don't know what it's like in his office, but my office is pretty okay.
My manager is okay, but I can't even get a day off, let alone 3 weeks.
Well, I must say, like I said, I took it unpaid, so it wasn't. I had to take a little bit of a hit, but the experience overweighs that a lot more.
Yeah, and obviously a great support system at home that allowed you to do that as well.
100%, 100% the support system at home, and like I said, friends, family, even my 2 boys. You know, understanding that I was going to be away for over 3 weeks. You know, so hey.
Yeah. One of the toughest parts I thought of the whole thing must have been the quarantining, because it just seemed to go on forever. It was on everyone's social media. And obviously there was, and it was fantastic. I should say that first and foremost, the fact that they did it to make sure that everyone was tested, and as far as possible, everybody was safe. That was amazing. But just from a personal point of view, and being an active person as well, how difficult is it to be cooped up in a hotel room in London for 2 days and then in Dubai for 2 days?
I tell you what, it was a world of difference from London to Abu Dhabi. I tell you that right now. You know, the first and foremost, you know, the UFC, you know, left no gaps in anything for us. You know, for the testing, everything was immaculate. Everything was, you know, on point. Make sure you're tested. Arrive at this time. You know, so we arrived in London at the Parkin Hotel in Heathrow. We all turned up, and I'm sure everyone looked at the hotel and going, "Shit, where are we?" You know, we've got to stay 2 nights, you know, cooped up in a room in this hotel. And bear in mind, no other hotel around Heathrow was open at that time, apart from the Parkin. I think one other hotel, and they've got to cater for so many hundreds of guests. Obviously, providing room service, etc. And you know, 2 days in a room for 48 hours, you know, 48 hours longer because we flew out in the evening. I'm glad I had my Netflix, and I'm glad I had my snacks with me. Put it that way, you know. And then getting on the plane afterwards was the best bit about it, because it felt like everyone had been let loose. You know, you could talk to people, you could see faces. I say see faces. Half the time your face is covered up, so you couldn't really tell who you were talking to until they quickly revealed themselves. But yeah, it was a good experience. And then, like you said, in Abu Dhabi, we had another test, another 48-hour quarantine. Then after that, we was let loose, so to speak, and be able to, you know, roam around the safe zone. You know, but yeah, it was okay.
Yeah. And I guess you guys had slightly more freedom over what you could eat and drink during that time period. A lot of other people were cutting weight at that time, so.
Yeah. You say that the eating and the drinking. Obviously, we was in a hotel, and it was like, well, especially during the quarantine time, the 2 days that we had to be there, it was just set meals sent up to your room, and you leave outside your door. You open your door, you pull the tray in, eat, put your rubbish outside the door. It was literally like that, you know. But yeah, we was lucky enough to be able to. Obviously, we don't stay in the fighters' hotels as officials. We stay at Bridge Suite, which was hotel a couple of doors down. Which made things a bit better as well. We had our own gym, own swimming pool, and there's no chance of like bumping into any fighters, make any conflict of interest, you know. So it was good in that sense, having our little space.
So they even keep you separated at that point, then, just all the way through, even at the hotels, you're separated from the fighters.
Yeah, we are. I mean, the only time you would run into the fighters would be at the venue, and possibly when we went for our meetings at the W Hotel with the head of the commission. So
yeah,
that was the only time you really run in. I say run into fighters. You're just brushing past, and that's it. You know, you really hardly ever see them because they're too busy either getting the test done or making weight or training and getting ready for the fights.
Yeah. And did you manage to get any training in over there? And did anyone train in the famous octagon on the beach?
Do you know what? The famous octagon on the beach was just about good enough for taking a photo. Because I tell you what, if you went in there barefoot, even at 9 o'clock in the morning,
hot.
The skin of the bottom of your feet, it was hot. It wasn't a training octagon. It was more for some people did hit pads. We had a couple of the guys who were hitting pads in there in the late evening when it was a bit more cooler. But no, we certainly didn't train in there. And for the people who are going, oh, you know, why don't they have the fight outside? Why don't they have it in the octagon outside? Trust me, you be there for 5 minutes, you'll be sizzling, so to speak. But I did manage to get training in. I managed to get a bit of gym work in. And I was lucky enough, obviously, with the officials, when we were in a bubble, we've all been tested, we've all been passed negative.
Yeah.
And we were able to get a couple of mats. And for the first time in 4 months, I was able to get a grappling session in as much as I got my arse handed to me by the guys there. But it was pretty cool to to be able to roll with like sort of Rich Mitchell, Goddard, Lefferby, who are all very good BJJ practitioners themselves, you know, within their rights. So it's pretty cool to dabble there as well.
I'm even jealous of that part of it. So, Peter, could we go back to the original question that we had up from Chris?
Yep.
Yeah, so he said, "Hi, Daniel-san. Congrats on your stint on Fight Island. You, the UK refs, judges and fighters were exemplary." What's
Thank you
the
very much,
feedback
Chris.
been
You know,
like, Dan?
feedback, mate. You're gonna get the good, you're gonna get the bad, you're gonna get your keyboard warriors. You're gonna the feedback for me, as far as like seeing, yeah, but hold on, but there's keyboard warriors who know what they're talking about, and there's keyboard warriors who are sitting in their mum's basement.
Is that the ones that wear the
typing
tap out
away and have
t-shirts?
nothing on the clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got one of the original tap out t-shirts.
Yeah.
but you know, yeah, you know, you are gonna have the feedback, and for me, majority of it has been good. I've had a couple where they've gone, you know, for example, I had the Modestus fight. People inboxing me I've never heard of. "Oh, dude, you lost me a lot of money. Why did you stop that fight?" I'm like, "Oh my god, like really?" But these are the kind of people you're dealing. These are the kind of people you're dealing with. Like I said, you know, even sitting with someone like Mark Goddard, sitting there with him, I can only imagine, because obviously, you know, you've seen some of the stuff that he gets and the abuse that he even gets crap sent to him when he's not even the referee. You know, when he gets mistaken for Kevin McDonald.
Kevin
McDonald. So he's like,
Yeah.
dude, so he's like, dude, welcome.
She went to Burger
Ireland,
King.
you know? So, huh?
You should have went to Burger King. Fuck
It was,
McDonald's.
Yes, exactly. You know, so yeah, feedback for me generally has been pretty good. You know, and as long as I feel good about it and I feel good about the stuff I've done, I'm happy. You know.
What does it feel like to get a taste of that kind of just being on a bigger level, more rivals, and therefore more comments? Is that strange at all, or were they just another fight to you?
Say that what the
more like
again,
I guess the fact that there's so much more feedback about the bouts, because I know when you're in there, you know, it's no different to it being any fight, but then afterwards millions of people have watched it and they've all got an opinion.
Everyone has an opinion, whether I do it on the regional shows, whether I do it on like the UFC show, everyone will have their opinion. Then people who are there to give their opinion, where, you know, everyone's entitled to it, like you said, but it's the fact that I wish that people, whether it be from criticizing the judges, criticizing the referee, criticizing the commentators, whoever it may be, you got to understand where they're coming from, what rule sets or what criteria or what platform they're coming from, you know. But you always, that's what makes social media sometimes. It's a good and a bad thing, you know.
Yeah.
Luckily enough, I've most of the time I've experienced the good things, but I have experienced some of the stuff that could crop up. And again, don't forget, at a stage like that, especially like the UFC Fight Island, you know, that was the only live sport, especially in America, that was going on at the moment. You're going to have new fans watching, uneducated fans watching, and you know, you are going to be scrutinized for everything you do. You know, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
For me, the Modestus fight, I actually thought that was the best piece of refereeing. Like, if you were going to give someone an example of how to be a good referee, to me, I don't think that could have been any better, any clearer. Like, your positioning was great. You were so decisive. And I loved, Peter and I have talked about this before, the fact that you didn't want to see the replay because you knew exactly what had happened. Like, why muddy the water of like there being any doubt? You knew exactly what you'd seen.
Yeah. And that's, you know, again, everyone keeps coming back to this fight because I guess one of the fights I had to fight, I had to deal with a controversy, like the one I did deal with, and you know, and it, again, you gotta have. I've been in those situations before, regional shows, and they're the times you want to, you know, they're your learning bases, you know. So when it happens, or should it happen on like UFC where everyone's watching, and I mean, because there's no crowds, all the executives are sitting K side, Dana White sitting K side, you got Mark Goddard, you got the commissioner sitting there. It's like this is a time where you need to step up and know how to deal with these situations. Know what rules are in place and what the states, what the procedures are for you to take in there.
Yeah.
You know, and I was lucky
Yeah.
enough. I know those situations, and I know how to handle them. And you're right. You know, like for anyone who hasn't seen a fight, there's a fight in this situation. Literally ended around where Modestas throws some beautiful elbows to the side of the head, and then the fighter claims that it was to the back of the head, illegal. And obviously, I knew it wasn't, and I told him it wasn't. I needed to see him get back to his stall. And unfortunately for him, the cage door had opened, but even before then, I was asking him. The cutman had already walked in, and it's know, unfortunate for him. You know, the door opened. That wasn't the decider. It wasn't the cage door open. He fell for that's it. I'm gonna decide it. It wasn't. It was just him not responding the way I wanted him to. And like I said to every fighter, you give me any doubt of any inclination that you can't continue. To me, then the fight is over. Your safety is paramount. Period.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is, if I didn't think there were legal shots, and I did think possibly there might have been illegal shots, then I may have gone to the replay to look at that. You know, to make another decision of how it would play out. But I knew exactly what I saw. I knew they landed legally, and that was it. But then you go back. I'm just going to go off a tangent here, but then you go back to fans not understanding what the back of the head is. You know, everyone goes, oh, the mohawk. Some people go the headphones. You know, not understanding what the back of the head is. And then the next thing you know, is you're getting bombarded. You know, on social media. You know, why you're still inside the octagon. You know, it was the back of the head. Oh, the commentator said it was. You know, it was one after the bell. They said it was behind the head. You know, and then their word gets taken as a God-given word, you know, that it must be correct, you know, instead of looking at the facts and looking at the rule sets and knowing exactly what the back of the head is, you know. So I thought I dealt with it. Okay.
And I know you can't comment on the commentators, but I felt that they definitely kind of, if there were uneducated fans watching, they were definitely banging on about the door way more than like you told him multiple times to stand up. That was the thing. I was thinking, you only get a minute in between rounds. He was still sitting on the floor, kind of. It felt like at least 20 seconds into that minute, like he hadn't even got up. I didn't know whether he was trying to play the DQ card and like have the fight ended. Like I wasn't even sure at first how badly injured he was, if he just was going for the DQ. But then I was thinking, if he's that out of it that he can't carry on, how does he know which shot landed where?
Yeah, and you know, here's an insight for you, right? So while I was refereeing that, when them elbows landed cleanly, and you know, even when you go back and watch it on the replay, if you know, like I said, he was getting hit to his left-hand side of the head against the cage. So Modestas is throwing those elbows. When he goes to his knees and the fight's finished or the end of the round, he holds the other side of his head, okay, to go, oh, ref, he's hit me the back of the head. So to me, that's an indication that one, you don't know what's happened, you don't know where you are from legal shots, and two, you know, like if I hit you on the right hand side, you're not going to hold your left cheek, are you, and go, ow, that really hurt. You're going to hold your right cheek. You know, so all them factors, the way he's responding, and the other thing, you know, that I also assessed was where he was on his feet, kneeling down. If I ask you to stand up, go to your corner, you don't sit back first and then try to stand up. You know, you will, if you want to continue, you stand up and you get to your corner. You know, so they were my assessments, and like I said, I got great support there. Like I'm sure you heard on the mic. I'd go out there, ask me, do I want to have a look at the replay? Because it's there, it's in the rule sets. If I wasn't sure about it, I could have used it, but I was sure, and I, nicely declined and said no, thank you. I know what I saw, and hey, that's it.
Yeah.
Got a
line. Tom's got a question here. Is there anything you'd like to see introduced to help MMA referees during the fight, like a new rule or a certain technology?
Yes, but as far as making it easy, technology-wise, no, not really, because obviously we've got the fight replay going on, and we're lucky enough, especially sometimes if a foul does happen, you also got the big screens there as well that you can have a quick glance at. I mean, I wouldn't. It doesn't. Here's an Oscar. Any new rules? No. Again, only one I would change maybe would be the 12-6 elbow, but I think that's been discussed so many times, and I don't know when that will change. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Apart from that, yeah, I think everything else what we got now is in place. Especially now, you know, the down the fighter is, you know, with the one hand, it's a bit flat palm or a fist or simply drop to a knee. Again, that's back in now as opposed to two hands. So everyone kind of was, you know, understanding that now.
Yeah.
But I think the rule sets are good. I think I just wish that some fighters and the cornermen would just read through those rule sets and understand rule sets. And if they're not sure about it, feel free to hit like myself or Herb Goddard, whoever it may be. Speak to any, you know, official and get a feedback from them and ask them questions. Because even in the rules talk that we do it backstage between the fighters, you got to think, really, them fighters, I'm asking for your attention for 5 minutes. And really, those 5 minutes, they're either looking at the person warming up next to them, they're looking at the TV screen of someone else fighting. You know, they're not really concentrating exactly what you're saying. You know, if they don't know the rule sets before I give them rules talk, then pretty much screwed, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know what would help referees if commentators would shut the fuck up. No, I'll give you an example, right? I think it was last night as well. A guy was winning the round for 4 minutes, and somebody gets a takedown the last minute, and the commentator's going, "Do you think he's stolen that round?"
Does my
It's
that
horrible.
does my head. That is my.
They said that.
Yeah, go on,
See
Dad.
that with you just said so you were cutting out a little bit. So just to make sure you're saying about fighter being standing up for 4 minutes, and all of a sudden the other fighter gets a takedown, and everyone goes, "Oh, he's won the round."
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, yeah. Listen. If nothing happened, if nothing's happening for those 4 minutes. Literally, both of the guys are like
Fair enough.
just circling around each other,
Yeah.
and nothing's happened to sway that fight. Then fair enough. When it's been stand up, and all of a sudden you hear the cornerman going, "Get that takedown! You're gonna win the round," and everyone's like, "Yeah, he won that round off that takedown." No, you know, it's that's kind of like old school thinking kind of thing, you know.
Yeah,
you know,
is.
I still hear it on regional shows, you know, get the takedown and you've won that round, you know. and I don't know whether it's because, you know, you could hear some of the cornermen also, especially today. I don't know whether it's because where the UFC obviously got no crowds fighting, no crowds at the events. Do they think they're going to influence the judges?
I think that's
by
what it
shouting out
is.
so loud, etc. I don't know.
Yeah. I actually thought that during one of the fights that you ref, the Rose Namajunas fight, her corner were just saying that things were way more impactful than they were. And to me, that was the perfect result. You know, I don't think it would have been any different if you listened to it in silence. But they were, even when she slipped, they were like really laughing and saying, "Yeah, you're having fun out there." And I thought, you're either trying to get in her head and make her feel like she's doing really, really well, or you're trying to influence the judges, because it was so loud. I don't know. Are you even aware of the corners talking while you're reffing, Dan?
Yeah. Do you know what? I was aware of the corners talking, and I could hear them. Obviously, it didn't influence my decision and my judging, but you can hear them. And I say this, that the judges obviously that were judging those fights, and even, you know, last night's fights, I'm telling you that they're been experienced enough to be able to blank anything from it being influenced by anybody, whether it be the crowd, whether it be the cornerman, whether it be the commentary. They're experienced enough not to be swayed with the decision, you know. But I'll tell you what, talking about Rose Namajunas, Pat Berry is one scary motherfucker. I'll tell you that.
All day long, Rose. All day long.
Oh, that was annoying, wasn't it?
I'll tell you what, doing the rules talk, with Rose, and having Pat Berry just like giving me a stare Like, yeah, I'm looking at him going, you understand? We good? You understand the coaches? You understand what I'm saying? And him just giving me that stare. I was like, holy shit. But yeah, that was a bit of a simple moment, so to speak. I was like, yeah, don't want to mess with this guy.
I wanted to go back to 251 and talk about the Aldo stoppage because it was obviously a huge talking point at the time. It's kind of, I think people have pretty much forgotten about it now, but the reason I wanted to bring it up was because Leon Roberts was the referee for that bout. He took some criticism from Dana quite publicly. And Dana had said, "Oh, I might start sacking people if they don't perform because
Unless you're called Herb
he's
Dean,
got
you
the
won't.
ability, or he's got the ability to do that apparently with the UK team in a way that he hasn't with the commissions in the States." And I just wanted you to clear up the fact that that wasn't what had happened in that instance.
All right, Kay, I lost you on the bit where you went Aldo Leon.
Have you missed everything else?
Peter sounds coming out here and fine. I don't know if Peter. I kind of gathered what you might be saying.
Can you hear me?
Peter, you repeat that question quickly.
Yes, you're just saying Dana was threatening to sack Leon after that fight.
He was threatening to sack anywhere. Can you hear me at all, Dan? He can't hear me, can he? Shall I leave, Peter?
You're breaking up, bloody hell, fucking thing. You guys can hear.
I can hear Dan, but he's going a bit slow now as well.
You're all right.
He didn't go quiet because he didn't want to answer the question.
Yeah, I think it's maybe Dan that should leave and come back in. Because you've no flows with me at all. Okay. It's Dan. Dan, you leave and come back in.
One job. What happened?
Well,
Let's go.
I don't know.
On a roll. You know, okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
That's it. There you go.
Can you hear me?
I can just about, but go on. You were saying about it, Aldo Leon.
I was just saying that there's kind of been a misinterpretation that Leon might have been sacked, and obviously, as you said to me, he's chosen to step away for a moment, and I just wanted to get that out there because we've had a lot of support on this show for Leon, and
I got the word. Can you guys hear me? No last question.
Just. He's totally frozen. Well, I'll remove him. You can come back in. I know he's still there.
So Chris has said he's not forgotten. That stoppage was nowhere near as bad as Herb Dean's stoppage in the Jai Herbert fight, which
I'll just message Dan
we all agree with.
Where is he?
But yeah, I really wanted to to ask Dan that important question because he's obviously got first-hand information on it, having been with Leon at the time, and obviously Dana came out with quite a strongly worded statement and gave people a kind of false impression about what's happened. So just I know there's a few people that
Leon
assumed that Leon was sacked, and that wasn't the case. So
but Leon didn't say nothing either. Leon could have maybe came out and said, look, I'm taking a break for things as well. I don't know. But then again, Dana didn't mention him either.
No, he didn't mention him.
No.
And I think, yeah, and there's, I don't know, there's a lot of, sometimes it's better to say nothing at all. Sometimes defending yourself, where does it end?
the way Dana came out and done that, and then after the Herb Dean Dan Hardy thing, he's blaming Dan, and it was Herb that went to Dan as well, which was a copy.
Well, my opinion of that is it's two separate issues. The fact that it was a terrible stoppage is one thing entirely. And then the second part of it is whether you think Dan was right or wrong for piping up and saying something at the time. And whether or not you think Dan was right or wrong, it was still a dreadful stoppage.
So we've got Dan again.
Even if Dan gets reprimanded, hey,
he's back.
Can you hear us okay, Dan? Oh dear, this is the worst connection we've had.
Can you guys hear me? Can I ask you our last question because I kind of gathered what you asked.
We can kind of hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gone again. Oh, this is the worst tech issue we've had so far.
It's definitely Dan's end. It's definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ian, it's not our
can
side,
hear
it's
you
Dan's
now.
side. There we go. Oh, I can't.
No. Oh.
Right, we're good? Peter, can you
I hear you now. I hear you now.
Them two are frozen.
Yeah. Answer the
We
question
can
quick.
hear you.
There you go again.
Oh.
I really wanted him to answer that question as well from Glenn earlier on.
Yeah, I wanted to, I want to bring that up.
There we go. Dana tried to imply that what happened against Goddard was the same as Dan's interaction with Dean.
Hello.
Here we go. We hear you.
I think we've got you. No, he's gone again. Yeah, we did try to set.
I hear you, Dan.
You're moving. And now you've stopped.
There you go.
Oh. Are you on 4G or Wi-Fi now, Dad? Maybe switch to the other one.
I'm on. Is that better?
Yes. And now no.
Is that better? Better?
Are you on Wi-Fi, Dan, or 4G? Can you message him, Peter? And there's not really any advice we can give him, is there?
Yeah, hang on, switch.
What's happening there?
Oh, we hear him again. Switch.
We've lost him. He might be trying to switch over. Lost the video completely.
I don't know whether to kick him again. If you've got internet issues, the first thing goes the picture and then the audio. He's not reading the Facebook.
Lost both.
And we kick him again, you can rejoin.
Let's hope he rejoins. Sorry, everyone. Just when we were getting to a really
Dan's on dial-up.
Yeah, I think he is on dial-up, Chris. Yeah, we were just getting to a real juicy question that I really wanted to hear him talk about, because Peter, you and I have said on previous shows, ever since this has happened, that Leon's one of the best in the business. And I had another guest on, Joe Clifford, the cutman, who only wasn't at Fight Island because he's Irish and they only took UK team. And he was saying he's one of the best. You can't leave Leon. So I wanted to do a little shout out to Leon with Dan there, and just say you've got to come back. We need you. He's one of the good guys.
So Dan just messaged her saying he's going to try audio, so that's him trying to come back in. He's just not connected yet.
Okay.
Give him about 5 seconds and it should connect. So you might not see him, but you should be able to hear him. Hello, Dan. Hello, Daniel. Can you hear us?
Oh, what a shame.
Oh, there we go. He's trying to speak. There we go. The joys of being live.
It was all right. Hold on.
We hear you there.
I can just about hear you guys. I can feel.
Yeah, we hear you fine.
I'm let my iPad.
I don't think he can hear us.
My voice is.
We can hear you, Dan.
You can hear me.
I hear you, Dan. If Dan can't hear us,
he can. No, he can't hear us. He's going to try and. I think I heard him say he's going to try and join on his iPad. But do you want to? Should we have a quick chat about the UFC last night, Peter, while we wait for Dan to join?
Yeah. So do I need to kick him again then? If it's audio, you'll need to. I'll remove him. He knows how to come back in.
Yeah. Sorry everyone. We're trying to get him back in. Just can't rely on Wi-Fi. But yeah, let's have a quick chat about. Who do you want to start with? Jojo?
If you want, yeah.
So she's lost her title chance. It was always a risk.
Yeah, we all thought it was a bit weird. You've got a title shot, wait it out. Obviously, we spoke about the fight a couple of days ago, and obviously I predicted that she wouldn't win, and you said she would. I'm always right, you see.
You picked against the Scot, did you, Peter?
No, I didn't. I got that one wrong.
I think he said it. Live on the internet.
That's not the Jojo Calderwood we know. I was very surprised. I was very shocked the way it went and the way it ended so quickly. It's just not obviously afterwards she fainted and she was taken to the hospital. She's okay now, but so we don't know. Maybe I don't know. The stresses of being a fighter. It must be, you know what I mean, the weight cut and preparing for the fight, the nerves and all that. She maybe just took a bad turn to it, and you know what I mean. Just the stresses of being a fighter maybe just got to her. But so,
like you said, it wasn't the Jojo that we've come to know and expect, and was really surprised to see her go to the ground with Maya, knowing what her jiu-jitsu's like. It was just not. It just wasn't a smart move, and just very surprising from Jojo. I know she's obviously been working on her ground game a lot and trains with Roxy and other like high-level jits girls, but yeah, tough one to take.
Yeah, but then again, it's such a shallow division. A couple of wins and you're back in it again, kind of thing. So what was she? I think
let's not forget she was getting the title shot off one win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She'd lost 3 out of 6 and she got a title shot. It's not like, you know what I mean, just because the division's that shallow. But just to be the first Scottish person to get a UFC title shot would have been an achievement in its own as well. It'd be the first, like Robert Whiteford was the first Scottish person in the UFC. She'd have been the first person to get a title shot. It would just been a good achievement, a good boost for Scottish MMA as well. So.
Yeah. And you might have got the UFC back in Scotland next year.
Well, there you go. You might imagine she pulled off. I know Shevchenko would have been the heavy favourite and all that, but Jojo would have had a puncher chance. Not like she performed last night, but if she performed what she can do, she would have had a puncher chance. Like Michael Bisping, his title shot, short notice, and won it. You just don't know in fighting in MMA. Anything can happen. So if you're in it, then you've got a chance of winning it. So you just don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would have been.
And in the main event, we had Edmund Shabazian against Derek Brunson, and I felt it was really strange, just the whole lead up to this fight. The fact that Ronda announced it, and the fact that she also announced that COVID was getting in the way of the way that they were building Edmund to become the youngest champion in UFC history, because it had taken like a couple of months out of their schedule, and the way they'd set all the fights, that he was going to beat John Jones by a couple of weeks or something. And I just thought, that can be your game plan, but do you need to make that public to the world when he's still got quite a few fights to go in that game plan? And it's obviously transpired last night that it was a bit too much too soon. What did you think?
Yeah, maybe they thought he was the next Ronda Rousey kind of thing, the way she took MMA by storm and, you know what I mean, dominated the women's division and all that. But to be honest, I don't really know much about him. I seen that live that Dana did with Ronda, where they were talking about him and saying it's the next big thing and all that. And I'm like, who are they talking about? I didn't really know him. Know all about Brunson, and what a performance by him. Absolutely spotless. And then there was obviously a bit of controversy about how that stopped as well. You know, at the end of the second round, I thought it should have been stopped. I think he was absolutely fucked. But it's not just the referee and all that. The corner could have stopped it as well. So Herb actually did. Yeah.
Sorry, go on, Peter.
I thought when Herb did stop it as well, he did stop it early in the third. We seen what was happening, so he did have a close eye on that. And I think they were blaming the doctor as well. Dana was blaming the doctor. I don't think it was the doctor's fault.
Dana
either.
was, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it was strange. Now I felt Herb almost seemed like he was kind of lacking in confidence a bit. Like at the end of the second round, he seemed quite indecisive about whether it was over or whether it was going to the end of the round. And you know, I'm sure if you've had a few bad calls and you know, everybody's talking about him and Dan Hardy and Dana and the whole situation at the moment. I'm sure that must be on his mind. Hi, Dan. Welcome back. Oh no!
Oh, here we go.
I think I can hear you.
Much better. Go for it.
Can you remember the question?
If I cut out again, I'm going to see if I can get on the laptop. But anyway, so I gathered something to do with Aldo, something to do with Leon, something to do with the rumor that he got sacked. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. First, I don't want to comment on it too much, but just to set the record straight, no one got sacked. That's the bottom line of it. Again, as you know, Leon's a top official, and he's done, you know, he's been in the business for many years, you know, and you know, and what I'll say is that, you know, like I said, there's rumors of some officials got sacked. If he hasn't got sacked, okay, just because you didn't see him on the next couple of shows doesn't mean anything, you know. But you know, like I said, people are quick to criticize. This is going back to the whole social media and people making up their own mind of what is and what isn't, you know. So again, that's the only bit I'll comment on. But I just wanted to set the record straight that no one got the sack. Far from it.
Excellent. It was just, I think, bad timing because Dana came. Yeah, Chris was saying you're on dial-up. Your internet.
I know. I could see. Do you know what? Maybe, Chris. What if you can hear me? Yeah. So whatever questions these two ask me, maybe you should type it out for me, and I can read it, and then I can answer it. How's that?
Chris should work for MMA UK, I think. Yeah, we were just saying it was awful timing because Dana came out and just kind of, as he does, spat the dummy about, well, I'll start firing people if I don't think they're up to the job. Then he wasn't on the next couple of shows, and I think people just assumed that might have happened. So really important to get that out there, that he chose to step away, and we all he's gone again. We all really hope that he's back soon. This is a disaster.
That was so much better as well. His iPad and all that. I'm just hoping he just pressed the exit by accident. And it's that. Let's see if he's in the messenger. He was doing so well as well. The connection was much better.
Yeah.
It's probably the wife watching Coronation Street on demand or something that's knocking them off. Or EastEnders, sorry, because he's for London, isn't he? Oh, there you go. He's coming back.
We are allowed to watch Northern shows, though.
You'll be back in a couple of seconds. Just waiting for his picture to show up. There he is.
God damn it.
Welcome back.
All right.
We're wondering if this is a tactic, if it's a tricky question.
This is going to be on one of them adverts, isn't it? This is going to be on them Wi-Fi adverts, isn't it?
Oh, here he is, Sam.
Don't let the Wi-Fi get you. Mr. Ameli's piped up. I'm surprised he's not getting sunburn on his holiday.
That actually reminds me of something.
Funny you should say that. Peter, roll that.
Yeah, hang on. Here we go. Where is it?
Oh, we need to turn it up. Peter, the volume. Can't hear it.
What's happened there?
I can hear it.
Okay.
I can't even hear this, you know that. Oh man.
Oh, can't hear it, Peter.
Because I'm not the real tech guy, I don't know. I can hear it fine in my camera, but
No, I don't think. Dan, can you hear it either?
Darren's close again.
Oh man, this is a tough show tonight.
Dan's frozen. I can see his finger. Oh, there he goes. Oh, he's gone again.
Talk to me about the fight of the night last night, Peter, because I missed that one. But apparently, it was a cracker rematch between Venata and Green.
Yeah. The first time was absolutely brilliant. They were just going toe to toe, both with their hands down. Green fights like that anyway. He fought like that the whole fight, but yeah, they both did well in the first round. And they were like, this is just like the first fight, which was a draw. It can be fight the night. Then second and third round, they still both had chances, but Green did start to dominate and all that. As I say, it is hard to read somebody when you've got their hands down, what he's going to throw and stuff like that. I've been really impressed by Green. He's doing really well recently. It'd be interesting to see where he goes next. He was quite emotional. They were both talking to each other during the fight, which was quite fun.
Right.
But after that, Green was like quite emotional. And he was going on about, if I get the bonus and all that, I'll pay off my house and all that, which they did. Got the fight of the night bonus, so he'll be able to pay off his house now. And he did a shout out to his kids and all that, telling them what they can achieve and all that, and everything he does for them as well. So it's like, it was nice. See, I didn't really like Green much before. He seemed to be arrogant and all that, and kind of full of shit. But I've seen the real side of him now, and I'm really impressed, and I can't wait to see him fight again. I'll be looking out for him.
The one thing I found ridiculous was him like blowing or spraying all of that water out of his mouth when everyone around him's wearing a mask to try and avoid like any kind of moisture from leaving their lips and hitting someone else, and then he's spraying it everywhere.
See, I didn't even think when he done that. All I could think of was Triple H, a wrestler for WWE. He does that in his entrance and all that for the effect, the spray effect with the strobe lighting and stuff like that. That's the only thing I thought he's a big wrestling fan because you just copied him kind of thing. But I didn't think about the virus thing at all. But as you say, they've all been tested and all that, and they were all negative, and you shouldn't be having contact with anybody that's not been tested. So.
But if they're all tested and they're all negative and there's no chance any of them have got it, then why do the corners have to wear the masks anyway?
I don't know, unless there have been places where they could possibly, like the hotel, the waiters, I don't know. the waiters and waitress and stuff like that. As I say, Dan could answer that maybe about how it worked and was he in contact with anybody. He is trying again. He can now go on his laptop. He's going to try his laptop. Hopefully his laptop's wired in. So he will be back on short.
I wonder if there's a way to get Sam's video on now, though. But
do you want me to try that video again? I don't. I could hear it. I know when you first sent it, it was quite low because of the noise of the beach and all that. But
no, neither of us could. Like, we just couldn't hear anything.
We've all got headsets on, and I could hear it, so I don't know why.
Okay.
You could hear the other video we played, didn't you? Remember the tribute video and all that? You could hear that, couldn't you? We played that. So I don't know. So I don't know why that works with that. I know the video was quite low anyway.
Thanks, Chris. The times he's tried to stop moisture hitting his lips. I'm not going to read too deeply into that. I don't think I want to consider that for too long. Also, while we're waiting for Dan, I want to give a shout out to the dentist who's fighting on next Saturday. He's got Maki Patola next Saturday, so they love putting him in the States. So be good. Obviously, he was on that last Cage Warriors card that got moved to Manchester. He was the only UFC fight on the Cage Warriors card. So that was a change of opponent, change of venue, change of everything. So hopefully I know he's stayed ready all through lockdown. So he's looking in peak condition. So best of skill to him for Saturday.
If Dan's got a laptop like my old laptop, it might take him half an hour for him to switch on and log in. It just depends on his laptop. My new one's perfect. It takes 10 seconds, but I know what it can be like if you've got a shitty old laptop. It can take a long time to log in and load up, and then the battery's shit and all that crap. So he's maybe got a dodgy laptop, but he is trying. So next week we might have a thing about the Scottish gyms, because obviously the government guidelines at the moment, because of the virus and all that, gyms cannot open in Scotland yet. So obviously there's a plan in place with all the Scottish gyms and all that to try and get the gyms open. So hopefully we'll get a few guests and we can talk about that next week and what the plan is to try and get Nicola Sturgeon and the Scottish government to change their mind. Even if they don't, just listen to us, and then after we've explained our side, then she can maybe explain their side a bit better. So, and then we can see what happens from there. Because at the moment, it sounds like she's playing politics with Boris. Obviously, England's got more deaths. So we've got no deaths for like 15 days, but because we've got everything, a lot of things still shut. So it just seems like a game of politics that could be related to independence, which I support, by the way. I am an SNP supporter, but I think the advice Nicola's getting, especially about when you go to the gym, you sweat a lot and all this stuff and all that. I think if you socially distancing, you clean everything down after you, and there's less people in the gym, you can safely open it. If you can open a pub, you can open a gym. So hopefully we can get a few experts on next week about that, a few gym owners, and they can get their point of view across, and we can give them some good support.
Hopefully they've got decent Wi-Fi as well.
Yeah, well, David, who was on a couple of weeks ago, he might be one of them, and then hopefully we'll get a couple of gym owners on and we can see their point of view. While we're waiting, maybe we could talk to Glenn's question.
Yeah, okay. So what's your views on the disqualification involving Mark Goddard at the weekend? So this was the guy, I forget what promotion it was, Peter. Was it in, it wasn't in one, was it?
No,
it was UAE MMA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he was back in United Arab Emirates, and there was a guy who won by rear naked choke, and Mark waved off the fight, and the guy didn't let go of the rear naked choke and continued to choke the guy. And then eventually when he got let go, he came after Mark, and like they were in a physical altercation. There weren't any punches thrown, I don't think, but he was in his face, and it was an argument between an official and the fighter, and the fighter ended up disqualified. And I don't know if I've heard yet if the
Oh, now
promotion's
you've frozen.
gonna suspend him, or
As I say, I
Peter,
don't know
what
how
did
that.
you think of it?
Yeah, I don't know how that promotion works, if they'll be suspended or not. I thought it was funny the way you jumped on your cage and you're celebrating afterwards, because I think we all knew, well, you're not going to get that one now. Because Matt Goddard, strong, firm referee, and he doesn't mince his words. So I'm pretty sure he told him when, after he let go and had a wee pointing the finger at him and all that, he let him know what he thought. And then because of that wee scuffle, that probably made up Mark's mind to disqualify him. And deservedly so. He should have let go straight away. I mean, you can kill somebody. So we're all going on about the Black Lives Matter and about how police don't know about chokes and all that and what they're doing. So that fighter knows damn well what he was doing by holding on to that choke. It's very dangerous. So as soon as the referee steps in, you let go and that's it. So yeah, stupidity. Yeah. So as I say, we've all seen it. So if we ever see that fighter again, he's not going to get any support from anybody after that kind of thing. He can have a bad reputation and all that now. So I've not heard him come out and apologise or nothing like that. That would go a long way to sorting things out. But as I say, it was a stupid thing to do. I don't know what the guy's experience was, if he's had loads of fights and whatever. But I mean, most fighters
when it's
know.
the other way around, and a referee calls it late when the fighter's saying that they're unconscious, then there's such a huge backlash. Like, everybody knows exactly how dangerous it is. What did you think of Dana White comparing that situation to the situation with Dan Hardy and Herb Dean? Because I didn't think they were comparable at all.
But they're not. But as I say, what's Herb Dean got on Dana White? Because Herb seems to get away with everything, and like, so he's threatening to sack Leon Roberts. I know he didn't say his name or nothing, but he's threatening to sack people, and then he's threatening to sack Dan Hardy. We still don't know what's happening with Dan. All he said was he was going to talk to Dan. So I don't think he was sacking, but it looks like he was going to give him some type of warning, which it's no. See, if it was a full crowd there, the ref. Herb said he didn't know it was Dan and shouted it until he asked somebody, but he probably wouldn't have heard it because of the crowd and all that. But as I say, it's emotional. The commentators get quite emotional. I know I've slagged them a bit tonight, but they're in the fight like this. They get emotional and all that, especially when it comes to fighter safety and stuff like that. And I thought Dan did the right thing. And it was Herb that came to Dan as well. Dan didn't go to Herb. Dan was still in his station.
Yeah, so that's another confusion over the topic, because Dana certainly said a commentator should at no point in time go up to an official, but that wasn't what happened. And I think whether you think Dan's right or wrong for what he did, it doesn't take away from the fact that it was a terrible stoppage. And the scariest thing for me about that was the fact that Herb Dean's defending it and still saying it's a good stoppage. Like, if a referee can't tell after watching that back in slow-mo and however many times on video replay, if you still think that's a good stoppage, that to me is very concerning. He must be another man who can't admit when he's wrong, Peter. Imagine one of them.
I know, fucking nightmare, man. People, there we go.
Hi,
he's moving
Dan.
quite well. There we go.
I'm trying.
Yeah, that's much better.
I'm trying.
Yes. We've got movement and audio.
Oh, good. You better thank my wife.
Yeah.
I'm using her phone.
Oh, you spoke too soon.
So
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. For the I don't know how many millionth time we were talking about Leon, and you said that. I think we were saying he's really, one of the most well respected. He's been around for a long time. We've actually heard nothing but praise on the comments, have we, Peter? And on this show, there's a lot of support for him. So
yeah,
if he's watching it all, I'd just like him to know that a lot of people are on his side.
100%. The guy even officiated my fights when I was fighting back in the days. That's how long he's been around. And it's like I said, people are quick to jump on and criticize something that a referee does wrong, but when they do it right, hardly ever, give him praise or anything like that, which is a tough one.
Yeah. And somebody just asked a question that we discussed before you got back on, but it was about Mark Goddard and the disqualification at the weekend. I don't know if you
On
saw
the
that
UAE,
fight.
I think
Yes.
everyone saw that fight. Yeah, rightly so as well. On two reasons. First of all, if a referee tells you to let go of a choke once a fight's over, be the sportsman, to let go of a submission. If you hold on for extra long, if you did that, for example, people in the UFC have done that before, like Polaris, he's done that before when he's held on to an ankle lock and he hasn't let go when the referee said stop. He got dropped.
Yeah.
But especially with someone like Mark, once he tells you to let go, and the fact that you grab him up afterwards by his collar, then of course it's a straight DQ. It's in the rule sets anyway that you obey the commands of a referee, and obviously you do not touch a referee even. I couldn't believe that happened. It's crazy, but it could only happen to him.
Was there bad blood between the opponents? What was his reason for doing that?
I really don't know. I tried, me and Sam had the conversation about this. We really could. Was like, it's not as if like Mark, put his hand on him, as in like put his hand around his neck to let go of the choke. Let go of the choke. Anything like that. Which again, I think maybe he would have been well within his right to if the geezer is still carrying the hold of that choke and he didn't let go when he did. I really don't know. I don't know if that's only something that he can answer.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was, because knowing Mark, he would have mostly put something out by now and would have said something.
Have you seen that one? Have you seen that one where the referee chokes out the fighter? I seen that clip. It popped up on Facebook the other day. The referee ended the fight and the guy was out, but he tried to take the referee down. So the referee grabbed him by the neck and stood up and choked him out.
Yeah, I have seen that one. I think that one is it in Brazil. I have seen that one. I think there's a point with that one. If it's the same one I'm thinking about, first of all, as a referee, I wouldn't put a choke on, if you know what I mean. There's other ways of trying to get a fight off if they're trying to fight you. But with that one, I mean, if it's the same one I'm thinking of, he kind of held that choke on a little too long as well.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. Yeah. I mean, obviously, it made its rounds on the internet, but yeah, again, that, I thought that was a great call by Goddard with the way he DQ'd the guy, and rightly so, so.
Yeah, 100%. For me, that's the same as punching someone after the bell. Like the fight's over and you're still carrying on holding.
Yeah,
it's just dangerous.
It is, but got to be thankful that you got an official like himself that can handle that situation and knows how to deal with it. Because it could have gone either way. An official not knowing how to deal with a situation like that. Next thing the guy gets away with it, or something else abrupts. Or who's to say that another official wouldn't have swung for the guy? So grabbing you by your neck, that you don't know how you'd react.
Yeah. Like you say, these things do seem to happen to Mark, whether it's Conor jumping into the cage or And of all the people to do it to, he's probably the person I'd least want to play up against.
Yeah, I know. Well, the biggest guy in that cage as well, because they're only small fighters as well, weren't they?
Yeah. But Dan, while we've got good internet with you, was there anything else you wanted to tell us about Fight Island or talk about anything that?
Yeah, all I wanted to say is that everything that happened there, regarding that, from the testing to the fights to it was amazing. I know there was a bit of negativity, like we said at the beginning, people going, "Oh, well, it's not really an island. They're not really fighting in a cage on the beach." That was impossible to do in that heat anyway. I've worked on a show before where it has been on. No, I worked on a show in Cyprus many years ago, 7-8 years ago now. That might be counting ran out there, and it was a really good show. But we didn't start the show till 10 o'clock at night, so we were finishing like 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning, and even then it was pretty hot. But yeah, from all the fighters, the way it was put on, I thought it was amazing, And for me, on a personal note, it was an honor to be there, to be able to officiate some of the fights that I did. You know, from whether it be Jessica Andrade and Rose, two former champions in their own rights, you know, to whether it be someone on the undercard. And I don't like using the word undercard or prelims. Everyone who's on that card deserves to be there. You know, they've been there. Whether we've seen in previous shows and even some of the fights last night. There's guys who are stepping in for their debuts and end up being cracking fights, or guys who are stepping up last minute and ending up giving a fight. You know, one that comes to mind quickly is the Reece McKee and Chimaev fight. You know, again. Obviously, while you're sitting in your hotel room, I do read through comments and all that, and people saying, "Oh, this guy's going to Muller McKee, and McKee, why is he there, etc." Listen, at the end of the day, the guy turned up, even if it is last minute. He's a professional as he is. He's turned up, given the guy the fight. It didn't go his way, but look, his journey begins now. You know, he's in the good books of UFC as well. You know, he's turned up, he saved the fight, they put another fight on the card. And you know, I think everyone should be a little bit more respectful how the guys and girls conduct themselves in that cage, and they're there for our entertainment. Even as a referee, you know, I see some bad knockouts and I see some bad injuries, and I go away and I go, shit, you know, these guys put literally their lives at risk. You know, for our entertainment, for us to be able to have a conversation on this platform that we are now, for us to be able to, some people make a living on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube, wherever it may be, whether it be criticizing, whether it be breaking down fights, whatever it may be, they're there and giving us that platform, you know.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Reece, because I absolutely love him. I was concerned about the matchup. I thought it was a tough matchup, especially with no fight camp. But like you say, he had the balls to take the fight. Nobody wants to fight that guy. He had the balls to take it and believe that he can win.
Yeah, there's plenty out there, but not many that could have got a call up last minute like he did, you know. And he, you know, again, I've had the fortunate event of refereeing Reece on previous shows, on other shows, but again, that's what you call a professional. You step up, and something doesn't go your way, you know. But what I was getting at is how people are quick to criticize, you know, and quick to put a fighter down, you know. Just, you know, you wouldn't have, you as a fan would not have seen him fighting Chimaev again, or seeing him on the card again, if he didn't step up. That fight would never have happened, you know. So that's it.
Yeah. And for anyone who saw that and that was their first time watching Reece, please watch his next fight in the UFC, because I felt all week he looked right at home there, you know, just seeing him in the UFC gear, seeing him in the cage. He looked like he was at home. I've felt that he belongs in the UFC for a long time now, and I'm really, really excited to see who he gets next and what he does, because this man can knock people out with a jab. He's just incredible. He's the guy that's knocked Jai Herbert out. He's an incredible striker, and he's one of my favourites. I've got loads of favourites. I know I'm guilty of having loads of favourites, but he's up there, and I'm so excited to see him, and I hope he gets another chance at the next Fight Island. And talking about the Rose fight, I was chuffed that you got that one, because when you were holding Rose's hand, somebody messaged me and said, "Oh my God, what have I got in common with Rose Namajunas?" And I was like, "I don't know, Alex. What have you got in common?" He was like, "Dan held our hands up in both of our fights." And I was like, "Mine too, then." To me, it's amazing.
Again, it's crazy, you know. These are the girls and guys that, you know, 6-7 months ago, even a couple of years ago, I was watching, fighting, you know, world champions, etc. But then I'm in there looking after their health and well-being, you know. So, and I see Chris has put another question on there. What's your personal best fight you've officiated? What did you say?
Apart from mine, we can't have favoritism. Apart from mine.
You know, there's so many to mention. But if I'm going to go on something current that you know, obviously from possibly maybe the Fight Island, for me it was the Rose and Jessica Andrade. Not well, two things. One, it was obviously on a pay-per-view 251 card. One on obviously being the Fight Island, and again, like I said before, and both of them being previous champions, you know, and it was crazy to officiate. And it was an honor to officiate as well. So that's got to date. I think that's one of my highlight fights.
So Dan, you get to enjoy the fight, or you have to watch it afterwards to kind of enjoy the fight because you're so busy focused?
Afterwards. That's a good question. Afterwards, I sit down and watch it. And again, not much to do in between the days. We all sat down and watched the fight. We all sat down and rejudged something and watched. Oh, how did these guys see this? Or how, you know, or even as an official, you sit there and watch the fight. Then I may watch it again and go, oh, I could have moved this way and got a better angle of this from choke, or, you know, different things like that. But as far as the fight goes, when I'm in there, I'm there to officiate. It is hard. I can see why some people think, oh, look, he gets to be in there and he gets to watch the fight, but I'm watching it for a different reason. I'm watching it for the safety, for, you know, what's going to happen, you know, trying to read the fight as much as I can and to prevent anything bad happening, you know. But yeah, I do rewatch the fights, yeah.
Because that was some round, that third round. Rose was hanging on in that one. That was some third round, that one. It was brilliant.
It was. They all, you know, even like I said, watching it afterwards, I was like, that's a good fight and a good round, you know. And again, it's a shame. I think someone commented, it's a shame it wasn't a 5-rounder, you know, because that could have been a fun fight for it to be 5-rounder. But who knows? It could happen in the future again.
And before that fight, I would have leant towards Rose in a 5-rounder, thinking that Jessica's gas tank would blow. But actually watching it, she seemed to be coming on stronger in that round. So in the final round. So who knows what would have happened. But it was just, Rose is just beautiful to watch anyway. I find her, like, if I was going to show someone who's not an MMA fan,
is it your
what's
mic,
going on with the sound?
Yeah, hang on. Let me mute you and unmute you. No, the sound's still there.
No, it's still going on, isn't it?
Right.
If it's not one thing, it's the...
I know.
Damn it. But everyone can hear that now,
Is
right?
it gone? Yeah.
That's not... Hopefully it's not just me then.
This is our tech issue special show.
Anyway, but yeah, you're right. If that was a 5-round fight, it could have gone a different way. But again, it was seeing. Do you know what was weird? Seeing them how tiny they are.
Yeah. I always think that when I meet fighters as well, they're always so much tinier. The girls are so much tinier. Even the bantamweights, because they weigh so much less than me, even not in fight camp. But yeah, they're always so much tinier than I expect them to be. But that's interesting. That was one of my questions, was like, did you get to watch any of them? And I assumed it would be the next day if you had that ability to do it. But I've been on a cutman course where they said the same thing. When they're watching the fight, they're not actually watching the fight. They're seeing whether, like, there's any damage from anyone, and they're literally just looking on the person that they're the cutman for, and they're just looking for damage the entire time. Do I need to go into the octagon at the end of the round? What do I need to be working on? And that's all they're seeing. They're not watching the fight. They couldn't tell you who's winning.
No, and that's their job to do that. You know, you'll notice that if you've been to a show like that, when you see the cutman sitting there, there's either a commissioner sitting next to them, or themselves will notice if a cut's happened. They're already, as soon as someone's cut, they're already getting their swabs and everything ready to go in there. And you know, especially the UFC, every corner has its own cutman as well, so they'll sit on the cage side door ready to go. They're the first guys in there. As soon as you see it, they're the first ones in there with the commissioner, with the stool, put them in and start working, you know. And again, that's another job. That's you know, quite, people forget what an important job that is, you know. They've got 1 minute, maybe even slightly less, the minute, just to make sure they treat that cut, try to keep them in the fight, and do the best that they can do, you know. So again, credit goes to all the cutmen who work the show and who work as a cutman on any other show, you know. So I think that's it's a thankless task as well for them.
Yeah. And they were all coming from the UK as well, so we were well represented out there. It was the judges, the refs, the cut people.
The judges you had from Poland, Germany, and Italy as well representing. So
Okay.
that was good. And then obviously you had the British judges as well. So yeah, it was a good mixture of European guys who were there, you know. And I thought
Yeah.
they done a good job. Again, same thing, you know. It's a thankless task. That's a thankless task as well, you know, because you know you hear people go, "Oh, it was a close fight," and it was, you know, not knowing what they're talking about. It was a robbery. Sorry, when it was a close fight.
A robbery is the most overused term, I think, in MMA, because there were two fights on the whole of Fight Island that I scored differently to the judges. One was the Max Holloway Volkanovski one, and one was the Darren Till Whitaker one, and they were both so close that if they went the other way, which they did, they'd like, I can accept that. It's when people just talk about takedowns at the end of the round, winning it for that person, that drives me insane. I can understand if they think it is subjective. If you think that shot was more impactful than that shot that I thought was stronger and did more damage, then we disagree on that one shot. If you're saying that takedown that he's popped back up from won him the round, then I don't agree with you. But
no, you know, and that's the thing though as well, Katie. You get people watching fights and not knowing like the judging criteria. And look, everyone has their favourites. Everyone has a favourite fighter who wants to win. I've done it as a fan when I'm sitting at home watching the fight and going, "Oh, I hope he or she won, or I think they won." But again, you're watching it with the commentary being on, with the you know the commentators going, "Oh, that was a great shot," you know, but yeah, you got three judges sitting on different sides of the octagon. The fighter might have their back turned towards them, might see a different shot than to the other fighter, than to the other judge. So that's why you have three judges at the end of the day, because they're three different opinions, and 9 times out of 10, they're exactly the same opinions. And you know, one time you might, you know, it might be seen differently, but again, you've got to understand that different angles, different shots they get to see can impact of their decision. But again, they're going by sets of criteria, which most people who are quick to jump on and going, "Oh, it's a robbery," don't understand.
yeah, no, that's true. What do you think about the argument for more judges? Kind of like maybe 5 judges, like they have in ACA?
For me personally, it doesn't make any difference, because at the end of the day, you can have 20,000 judges. If they don't know the criteria and don't know what the criteria are, you're still going to come with the same result. As long as it's like I had this question put to me about like Victor done when they put the live scoring system, right? Listen, first of all, from an official point of view, judges get scrutinized as it is, right?
Yeah.
So you imagine like being in a stadium with 60,000 people, or whatever stadium you may be, 20,000 people. And you're gonna, you know, you got your names there, Peter, Katie, Dan, Movahedi being the judges, right? And then you put a score up that the fans don't agree with because they're watching it pissed up and watching it as fans and whatnot. And then that's that for one. Like, you know, next thing you know, everyone knows what you look like, who you are, and stuff like that. And two, it could be also the fact that, you know, a fighter may look up at the scoreboard, go, "Oh, hold on, I'm 2 rounds ahead. I'm going to take my foot off the gas," and it becomes a dull fight, you know. Or it could go the other way, you know. One could go, "I'm losing the fight, and I'm going to go for the fight." But again, as long as 3 judges is enough, and as long as you know the criteria, you know what they are, I think it's good. You know, if you want to have 5 judges, then that again, it's all down to having the right criteria.
Yeah. Well, I thought that the UK guys represented us amazingly over in Fight Island. I think it just showed that the UK is kind of up there with the very best in the world. It stands, isn't it? Yeah, up there with the very best in the world. So I thought you all did an amazing job. We were all really proud of you, putting the UK firmly on the map and at the, you know, at the top, the upper echelons of MMA. We had 18 fighters over there representing us, people on the judging panel. So I just thought it was amazing, the whole thing. It was emotionally draining, the highs and lows of all those people that I've interviewed over the years performing and wanting them to do well. But I'm really excited for Fight Island to go back there. So that's going to be in September, October time, is it, Dan?
I don't know. I wish I knew, because if it is, I need to book more time off work and have a word with the family. But I haven't confirmed anything yet, but I'm sure they will be going back at some point.
Yeah, so yeah, we've heard the rumours it will be around that time. I'm really, really hoping that it will be then, and that we've got the same guys going back over there. I hope you're allowed the time off work, Dan.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Anyway, quickly, Peter.
Yeah.
Can we just confirm whose microphone that is cracking up?
I know. I figured it out. You've got no headphones on, so it's coming. The sound, your speakers picking it up. Your mic's picking up the sound. So if you turn your sound down, it should go away. When I mute you, it stops.
Ah.
Because you've got no headphones on.
I've become made you guys a pain in the arse, haven't I, for this podcast?
No.
Never mind. Anyway, I'm glad I got cut off when I saw Sam and Meaty half naked on the on whatever it was you guys put up. So
we'll have to send you the video for that, because it's really funny, and actually he's sent you a challenge. So Peter, maybe we could put that up on MMA UK as a post.
Yeah. So do you know what the questions are? Do you want to know the questions?
Go for it. Yeah,
he wants you. When was the last time you shaved your back and neck? That's the first one.
That was the last time. Oh no, second to last fight I had, which would have been 2007. That's the last time I think I shaved my back and my chest.
Yeah. Well, if you shave it on Facebook Live, you'll donate money to a charity of your choice, and we'll donate money as well. We'll do it as well. We'll join in. If you done it live on Facebook.
Listen, you'll have my wife coming down here. The most I've done where I've grown my beard, I kept my beard down. It's when I fought Ben Craggy on KJ's Contenders, and we had a bet. The loser out that we both grew our beards, and when we shaved off for charity. That was the last time I'd done something like that. I'm happy to do that. Maybe over the winter, grow it out and then shave it off. But the chest there stay, my friend.
And your second question was when was the last time you ate less food than him?
No, it wasn't. He said you're always mugging him off for eating all the time. But when was the last time you weighed less than him?
Oh, weighed. Is that what it was?
I'm taller and bigger than him. That's period. You know, I eat less than him. I'm better than him. Let's do it. Wait till we start hitting the road again. Them Instagram videos are popping back up.
I took over for you in Dublin and got a few when we were at Bellator.
I know. I've saved those videos as well.
Fantastic. So Peter, maybe we can put that up on as a post or something, so that people can see Sam getting the challenge himself. Amazing. Well, while we can all hear each other, maybe we'll sign off and quit while we're ahead. But Dan, thank you so much for coming on.
Listen, I apologise for the poor connection. Honestly, I don't know what the fuck was going on, but at least we got some side of the story, and I'm sure we'll sit down and we'll have another chat at some point. But yeah, really appreciate you guys having me on, and then thanks for, especially, I've only managed to see a couple of questions, and I think most of them from Chris, and then Sam come on and got cut off indefinitely, you know.
We'll try again in the future. It's lovely to have you on. It's lovely to see you and catch up with you. And Peter, anything to say before we sign off?
Yeah, just obviously I've got like a top 3 referee thing, and obviously Leon Roberts is the #1 referee in the world. Me, Goddard's #2. After Dan's performance at UFC Fight Island, you're now #3. Good man.
You're too kind. Trust me, you're
No,
too
no.
kind, you know.
Yeah, no, that it means anything, but no, you really impressed me. I've seen you referee before in other events and all that, but do that on the big stage, especially when you said to him, I don't need no replay and all that stuff. I just brilliant refereeing, and you're now in my
But
top
again,
three.
let me. I'm just gonna to bring, you know, because I don't like, I like compliments, but I don't like compliments. But again, I've got to give credit. I've got to give credit to the people that, you know, as far as referee I work with, you know, like Mark, Leon, even Rich Mitchell, some of the other referees, Sam, obviously. It's the people that you know you look up to and you see on the big stages, and you know, even if I haven't worked with them or shared the cage with him, like another one is Jason Herzog. He's another one that I look up to, and I see the way he works, see the way he moves.
Yeah,
you pick good and bad things from everybody. You know, so again, credit goes to all the officials out there looking after the fighters correctly.
yeah.
So I appreciate it.
Well, you know, you've always been my favourite, Dan. Much to Sam's dismay.
But you do,
Seconds, but Sam never raised my hand.
but you do have the toughest job in MMA. I actually posted that the day after the Aldo fight, after it happened with Leon. I said, referees have got the hardest job in MMA, and a few fighters were got upset with what I said about that, saying no, fighters have got the toughest job. But for me, it's referees. A referee can cost you a fighter's career, can cost a fighter's life if you get it wrong. So you guys have to be on top of your game all the time.
I appreciate that. Really appreciate that.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to say, Dan?
No, that's it. Honestly, again, thanks for having me. I'm sorry it was choppy and whatnot. And there was so much more we want to talk about, but again, it's something that we can always come back to. And again, Peter, if you want to, we can once I know exactly, I've got a good connection and whatnot. We can sit down and maybe do the officials corner and speak about, you know, fighter safety and whatnot, whatever it is you wanted to speak about.
We'd love to. Definitely.
It gives the casual fans an insight into what really goes on as well, and it may educate them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. That's all about.
Like something that I always remember as well, when anything like that comes up about the back of the head or anything like that, or with a downed fighter or anything like that, I think back to my rules talk and everything that you told us, right down to, you've got to show me you still want to be in the fight. If you're running away, if you're turning your back, if you know any of those things, people don't know unless they've either read the rules in that much detail or they've listened to a rules talk. They maybe don't know this stuff. So
I'm glad you still remember them from all them years ago.
I do, because I remember that's when my stomach turned to liquid and I thought, what the hell am I doing?
That's good.
But yeah, it's ingrained in my memory forever. But thank you so much for coming on, Dan. I'm hoping at some point I see you at an event as well and we can do a live interview, but who knows when that will be, the way things are at the moment.
Hopefully. Well, I've got the Contenders drive-through. I've got that event coming up in a couple of weeks.
Oh, so, you're doing that?
Yeah.
So that's just moved to a Friday, hasn't it?
Can you make it now, Katie?
Say that
again. I still can't make it. I would love to, though. Yeah, I'm gutted I'm missing that one.
It's a great, for me, it'd be interesting to see how it works out. I know we've got all our testing and self-isolating thing to do as well. So that would, that again, I'm back on that. So, but yeah, it should be good.
Yeah. I want to know how it works for media. Do you interview the fighter in the back seat of a car or whatever?
So I mean, it's a good concept because only people that will be allowed around the cage or the fight area will be the 3 judges, your timekeeper, myself and Sam, obviously your cutman, your medics, and then obviously when the fighters walk in, I think even the commentators are set back a little bit further back than they would normally be, and everyone who's in that area will be testing all the fighters. But it is a crazy concept of people being able to drive in their cars, and I believe they're doing like radio transmission, so they have a wavelength for when the commentators and whatnot and the whatever's playing on the screen, for you to be able to listen to the comfort of your own car or decked out next to your car. I believe that's what it is. But I'm intrigued to see how it works out. Again, another crazy thing from doing the UFC Fight Island and doing so to speak, a drive-through cinema type MMA show, So
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. I'm sure. I'll tell you what, we can maybe book it in and have a chat after that. Me and Sam can give you a lowdown.
definitely, yeah, that'd be great.
Will you beat the
The
Cage Warriors
commentators
triple
thing
showdown?
interests me.
So I don't think I'm at the couch. I think they already got Goddard and Rich on that show, on them free shows, should I say? But again, that's another show. It'd be crazy to see how 3 shows in a week. Again, they go their lockdown, quarantine process and all that.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah,
tested.
they'll quarantine from the
Good
Monday.
thing is, and the good thing is, I know we said goodbye about 5 times now, but quickly. But the other good thing is that now that there is some sort of testing, yes, it does cost money. It's not cheap. But at least they can budget that if events want to go ahead, they can budget that, and if they can afford it, they can get it done, and have some sort of event going along.
Yeah.
So how long do you have to quarantine for that one? For contenders?
2 days. It'll be 2 days. You have your test 2 days for your results to come, and then do the show.
See, that's like, even that is a lot of time off of people's day jobs. Like, if you've got to isolate in between, isn't it? Because it's not just the fact that you've got to be there on the Friday. It then becomes like the extra days on top for quarantining is a long time. And Cage Warriors is the Monday before. So it's just, it's a whole lot of time and money and everything for everyone involved.
That's why media's not got in, because it would cost them a lot more money to put the media into the hotel for Monday as well, quarantine them as well.
Yeah.
So
again,
it's not official yet. That's what I'm hearing. No media.
But that's where fans at the moment do need to appreciate how everyone is putting together to be able to get these shows on. One more, all the staff at the Fire Island, so not UFC officials, the hotel staff, the people who are doing the food, the people who are setting up the rigs and all that, they had to quarantine 2 weeks in a hotel room before everyone. 2 weeks. That's that goes to show. And I don't care when anyone says, "Oh well, Abu Dhabi paid for this and UFC had to deal with this." It doesn't matter, because without that, you're all them people who are saying this and that, they're still watching the fights. They're still sitting there, and enjoying the fights. So just appreciate the things that even like Cage Warriors, like contenders, trying to pull wherever they can together safely as possible. They can do. I'm happy to do so, Sam, but I'll leave something for you to do when you come on the show next week, mate, in a couple of weeks, all right?
Chris wants to know if you do a seminar.
I don't do a seminar. I know Mark Goddard does one. He does an IMAF one, and he also does one, and that's worth doing. But look, if anyone wants to educate themselves, you can look all the rule sets online. There's a couple of videos floating around, but again, I'm also, myself and other referees are free. If you want to just hit us up with any questions, I'm happy to answer them at some point.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dan.
All
really
right.
appreciate it,
and
we'll speak again soon. Me. And we'll use Helen's phone next time because it was much better.
Thanks. I'm going to get bombarded on it by like people going, "Oh, change your Wi-Fi." If you do, please tag BT Wi-Fi or whatever it is. Please tag them in it and see if they'll give me free Wi-Fi for the year. Got to try for a freebie, right?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Dan.
Appreciate that, guys.
Take care.
Thank you very much.